Max and I just watched the 1976 Scorsese film Taxi Driver. This would be the second of the 4 Robert De Niro films that we're going to be reviewing. Today we're joined by a very special guest, Max's cousin Scott.
Hi. Now Max, can you give us an overall run through the film?
Yes, so Travis, an ex-Marine and Vietnam veteran, works as a taxi driver in New York City, but one day he decides to save an underage prostitute from her pimp in an effort to clean up the city of its corruption. So Scott, what did you think were some, positives when we were watching this film?
Oh, I'm going to have to go with director Martin Scorsese. I think he did a wonderful job with this film in creating a successful psychological thriller.
100% Scott, I agree. One thing that I really liked was the overall story. It had a great script and the dialogue really had me on the edge of my seat.
Oh yeah, well speaking of the dialogue, Dylan, I liked it how it was narrated and it was coming from Travis's character and it was coming from his perspective.
I agree, however I do believe that Travis was an unreliable storyteller due to his mental issues.
Bouncing off that point, Scott, with these mental issues they start to change him because he's a really likeable character at the start, but his mental issues start to become more prominent towards the end.
One thing I did particularly like about this film was the music. Composed by Bernard Herrmann, it really matches the theme and atmosphere of the 70s in New York.
Another note about the music is actually the end sequence, where there's that continuous theme that sounds like the heartbeat of Travis, and then it slowly fades away, which would lead to believe he died.
Yeah, it was good editing, I have to say. The overall aesthetic of the film was very good. It really matched the tone of the film, and I thought there was some good action scenes. Some of it was quite violent. It should definitely be rated an 18.
100% Max. Well, we're talking about the aesthetic of the film. Scorsese uses lighting and, scenes of darkness, which are very suitable in the scenes that they're in. The use of good camera angles and everything, but one thing that I really liked was the colours. The colour yellow, obviously, is the taxi, and it symbolises jealousy, and if you think about it, Travis is driving around in his own jealousy.
Yeah, it's very impactful, Dylan. I have to agree with you there.
I also agree. Speaking of the director, Martin Scorsese, I love this cameo, where he was in the back of Travis's cab and he spoke about his wife cheating on him.
Yeah.
And how he'd shoot her with a Magnum.
100% Scott. Well, this gun, the 44 Magnum, it symbolises a lot in this film because he actually buys it at the end when there's the big shootout scene, as Max said earlier, and I really like this scene.
Yeah, I have to agree. The ending was really good because it's one of those ones that's open to interpretation because there's some newspapers that say, he's dead, and there's some that say he's in a coma in hospital. Yeah. So it leaves us the question, is Travis really dead?
Wow. Speaking of Travis, I think Robert De Niro is brilliant in this film. I mean, especially in that iconic, "You talking to me?" scene. He was definitely my star performer. What about you guys?
Yeah, he was definitely a star performer. Brilliant actor in this film.
Well, I have to agree, all from us. But one thing I also really liked about that scene, Scott, was when he manufactured his own gun slide. It's like Assassin's Creed. However, I was quite disappointed. He only used it once.
Well, yeah, speaking of the negatives of the film, I know we all really enjoyed this film, but however, there are some slight issues with the film. So Scott, what did you think were some slight negatives of this film?
One negative about the film is the overall lack of action sequences in the film. And when they do come around, they're a bit anticlimactic, like the one in the shop.
Yeah. There were some scenes that were quite strange, like, when he's eating the weird cereal mixed with the alcohol and sugar, and it's actually keeping him awake, really, and, making him more insane.
Well, speaking of these crazy concoctions, there's another scene where he's in a coffee shop with his friends, and he has a glass of water, and he puts baking soda in it, and it starts to fizz, and he starts to stare at it, and the camera also focuses on it, and this shows his mental health being, it's rising. So, Scott, there's another instance of...
Yeah, he's not the only character to do this.
No, it was Jodie Foster's character
actually put salt on a jam.
Yeah.
Which is just really weird.
Yeah, there was also some really awkward scenes, like with Betsy when he corrects him on the organised joke, and then there's silence for 10 seconds. It's quite strange.
Yeah, it really takes you out of the film, doesn't it? Well, speaking of this joke, Max, he has it imprinted on his wall, and he still gets it wrong. And the camera pans over his apartment, and he's an absolute slob. There's rubbish everywhere.
Yes.
Well, speaking of that and how he's not really in his reality, it really shows when he takes his date to an adult film.
Oh yeah, it's
and
wrong.
It's just overall really strange, and it actually led to the end of their relationship.
Yeah. To be fair, though, I wasn't a massive fan of the character Betsy or even Tom. They were just quite annoying overall, and they really slowed the film down for me.
Well, guys, we really enjoyed this film. There were positives and negatives. However, what's our overall rating?
An 8.5 out of 10.
An 8.5 from us. Thank you guys for watching. What would you rate Taxi Driver out of 10? Let us know down below, and we will see you soon, guys. Goodbye!